Do the right thing. Over the years, when I've had time and been able to arrange it, I've taught writing classes at several colleges and universities, and have also conducted my own screenwriting workshop seminars. I enjoyed the work enormously, and I've been gratified by a number of accomplishments, not necessarily in the teaching of screenwriting per se, but in the course of the shared creative adventure. Paramount Pictures once made a small, empty soundstage available to an energetic father whose daughter suffered acutely from cerebral palsy, and who'd founded PATH, the Performing Arts Theater for the Handicapped. I taught in that drafty venue one night a week, and the students, each with a profound disability, were remarkable and courageous. Some were imaginative writers, and one kept in touch with me for a while, although her speech was extremely difficult to decipher, using her specialized telephone equipment. Just outside the Paramount main gate, on Marathon, was a corner bar restaurant called Oblath's. Its management was second or third generation by the time I was having early breakfasts or late nightcaps there, and some of the waitresses had been there all their working lives. They had direct phone line to the Paramount switchboard. One of the last testaments to the old Hollywood was when Annie, the most senior waitress, finally retired. They closed off the whole street for her celebration, and hundreds of her loyal customers showed up, famous actors and actresses, writers, producers, directors, studio executives, crew people. It was a memorable and nostalgic farewell, the like of which will never be enjoyed again in an industry town where the industry has become one of dehumanizing corporate mergers. At about the same time, I taught a Saturday morning workshop sponsored by the Writers Guild, the Minority Writers Program. I was touched especially by Earl, a student who flew down from San Francisco every week. He was a postal worker, and more than anyone else, his sacrifice, commitment, and financial burden — the program was, of course, free. I'm talking about airfare, although then I think it was only about $30 round trip — kept me on my toes and encouraged my efforts. I invited him to spend the weekend at our house when he could, and a short time later he did. It's only incidental that Earl was black, except for one thing. At our invitation, he brought his wife, who was white. It was years ago. Our daughters were youngsters, and then, and I admit I wondered what their reaction might be, a couple of weeks after our visit together, I asked them, I think I said something clever like, "So what was your reaction?" None of them had any idea what I was talking about. God bless them. Earl wrote to thank Deborah later for giving him the idea for a story, which he sold to Playboy magazine. She didn't recognize her idea when she read the story, but we were very glad for Earl. Maybe the Playboy money covered his plane fares. I did 2 sessions at my brother Roy's suggestion, one day at his theater in Portsmouth, and a weekend at his summer theater camp in the Maine woods. As usual, I found that some people thought they had a lot to write about, but couldn't get started. Others wanted to write, but felt they had no ideas. By the end of the all-day session, everyone had come up with something personal to write about and felt confident enough to get started on their own. Beyond that, the group had formed a special connection, and they picked up their belongings and got ready to leave. Somebody realized that one of the men had been quiet all day. The group, with a single voice, demanded to know what he was going to write. After all, everyone else had been frank and revealing. Each person stopped what he was doing and waited expectantly for the man to respond. Finally, as he headed for the door, he said, "I've got nothing to write about." And he started out. You could feel the frustration and resentment in the room. He had almost disappeared into the night when his voice echoed back, breaking through the stunned silence. "Except I was in Vietnam for 4 years." His reticence was my fault. Attempting to avoid the cliché, I'd suggested to the group that instead of writing what they knew, they should try to write about what they wanted to avoid. The man certainly knew what he wanted to avoid and simply chose to avoid it. However, I found that the device of encouraging writers to confront their demons has frequently provided an effective creative release. In the interest of fairness, I have one real claim to fame in the tutorial department. Bob and Joyce Silberling are very good friends, and we've known their children, Tracy and Brad, since they were kids. They're both terrific adults now. Tracy, surprisingly and successfully, works for the Department of Justice. Brad is a filmmaker with 3 major credits. He directed the most recent Moonlight Mile from his own script. It stars Dustin Hoffman and Susan Sarandon, a tribute to his talent and growing reputation. Now here's my claim to tutorial fame. When Brad was getting his master's degree from UCLA Film School, he made a thesis film as one of the requirements. Uniquely, he somehow persuaded Whoopi Goldberg to provide the voice of God. While he was editing the footage in one of the Silberling bedrooms, he asked me to take a look and make suggestions. His father and I ran the rough cut with him on the rented moviola, and I gave Brad a number of helpful hints. He ignored them all, and that's why I take credit for his success.